They're going to get punched in the mouth. Best team in the NFL is getting 3 points this week. This is a layup.
Hello, world, and welcome back to Grid Iron Campbell, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ron, and I'm joined by the entire collective, The Disciple, Brett Colson, Donnie, DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nawara. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, 5 stars only. Like a man who is currently up 7-0 on the New England Patriots. Justin Fields, who ran in the touchdown on the opening drive of the contest. I've got Patriots minus 11.5 in the account. I think the Jets should try to lose some football games to make sure that they have a valuable quarterback, maybe, in this draft. Something Fernando Mendoza. Nonetheless, I'll be rooting for Gangrene. It's hard to root for losses, especially after 15 years of no playoffs. We are kicking butt in Circa Sports Million, a perfect 5-0 last week to start the third quarter. We started the year 3-12 and are currently 28-22, which means we have gone 25-10 since week 3. The old 83% clip from the collective. And was that did I mush it there, DP? Am I in the process of mushing?
You're mushing the entire thing. The entire thing. Reach into your pocket. How many $50 bills do you have stuffed in there, buddy? Come on. This is unbelievable.
I'm just reading stats, and Donnie's losing his mind. He hasn't picked the Thursday night game in a week, so he refused to give me a pick, and he's worked in the gambling industry for going on more than 20 years at this point. How can you still believe in these voodoo? There are millions of people watching these games. How can the actions of myself have any effect on what is happening?
You're that
You
powerful.
just told me the Steelers were going to cover 3 because of voodoo.
Well, that's Tomlin voodoo that's a defined, known thing. He's
you don't
actually
think Gamblers Voodoo? Gamblers Voodoo
but
has been around much longer than Mike Tomlin, okay? Way longer.
I'm not standing on the sideline coaching these guys and actually having an impact on the contest. I'm just some jamoke sitting on my couch watching these games carry out. All right, let's get to some football. Split contests. And we'll start with a spicy one. Spicy because there is some dissension amongst the collective, and also spicy because it is taking part in Madrid, Spain, the last European game of the season. It's Commanders against Dolphins.
Miami and the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
And I will start the proceedings because I have the highest opinion on this game, and it is on the greatest football team. So this is a team of absolute frontrunners. When it is going good with Miami, it goes good with Miami. You see Mike McDaniel after the game last week, strolling by the elbow room, talking smack to some Bills fans who are down in South Florida. Big watch hanging out the car window. This team, when it gets going and it gets hot, they tend to press on the pedal and keep it going. And you've got a Commanders team, which is in complete tatters. You've got an offensive side of the ball, which has everybody injured, Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin especially. Now you've got Treylon Burks out as well. So you just have a complete cast of characters at receiver for Marcus Mariota. And coming into the season, we were very bearish on this team because of how old this defense was, and they've not done anything well this season. 32nd in pass defense EPA. So the Dolphins have been flying high. Even if you go back to that Ravens game, just as a random turnover fest on Thursday Night Football, but they were only 6 yards per play worse than the Ravens in that game, which come out into the wash in a normal game. It's like a 4-point difference between those two teams. So it's been 3 weeks in a row of this offense looking like the Mike McDaniel offense. And I don't know, guys. I just think they're just going to show up on Sunday morning against a Commanders team that came into the season with a lot of expectations that is now seeing themselves, headed towards an early exit with no playoffs. And I just think they're going to get their asses kicked by the Miami Dolphins. Got some disagreement in the top 5, and we'll start with Brett, who's got Kami's top 5.
Yeah, I normally would stay far away from this one with it being in Madrid, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to take the points. And this feels like one of the clearest letdown setups on the entire board this week. Miami coming in off a win that meant way more to that staff than a random Week 10 game should. They spent the whole week acting like they won the AFC East. There's players celebrating. McDaniel's emotional. The whole building is just glowing. But when you look at that box score last week, the Dolphins got every single bounce. Buffalo failing on 4th and 1. They fumbled twice inside the Miami territory. They threw a pick in the end zone. And the Dolphins were outgained and really survived on luck. Yeah, the scoreboard showed it as a blowout, but it's just a weird game. Washington, like you said, they've lived the exact opposite the past month. 5 straight losses. They've gotten smoked in 4 straight. I think they've lost by 20 plus in each of the past 4 games. Defense that's been shredded, but I mean, you also look who they've played. Chicago, Dallas, Kansas City, Seattle, Detroit. That's 5 straight top 10 offenses in yards per play. They get a massive step down in class here with Miami. Add in the travel to Europe, add in the Dolphins team that could be emotionally spent, and I think you've got just the classic zigzag spot here. Overvalued, fortunate winner last week versus the undervalued, beaten down Commanders team that's finally getting some schedule relief. So I'm going to take the points here. I like the Commanders a lot.
DP, I skipped you. You're on the fish side as well with me. So put a pin on this contest.
I mean, one of these teams has a passing offense, shout out Mo, and the other team doesn't. Right? We just got to hope that Miami actually decides to show up. When they show up, they seem like they do okay.
If the Dolphins try, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't walk over this Commanders team. Mo,
yeah, but it's a big if they will try.
You just said a 3-win team or whatever they are is going to walk over another NFL team. I got nothing on this game. I'm stunned that Brett has a high opinion here. Since
the Dolphins,
I thought we agreed.
The Dolphins have obliterated 2 teams in the last 3 weeks. One of them is a Super Bowl contender. When it looks good for Miami, it looks good. And now this is the worst team they've played in the last 3 weeks by margin. So I just don't know, unless it's a letdown. If we're just capping for letdown, then I agree. But if we're capping for 2 football teams, I don't see any advantage whatsoever for Washington.
Capping for letdown, capping for travel variance, and I'll take the points.
Hawks at Rams. Double sounder here. Rams can make that sound. I was stunned to not see that this was a split game, but I was absolutely stunned to see that Mo has so much conviction in the Seattle Seahawks +3 traveling to Los Angeles.
How could you not? You want to talk about front runners? The Rams are front runners, man.
Who plays quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks?
They're going to get punched in the mouth in this game, bro. One of these teams is a complete football team. One of these teams is a greatest show on turf that's going to get punched in the mouth by a good defense. They've been feasting on cupcakes, injured 49ers, bum-ass teams. Seahawks are coming out beating everybody by 40. They're beating people so bad they have to take their foot off the gas at halftime. And now the Rams are going to actually face a real defense. The Rams are not better than the Seahawks. The Seahawks, the best team in the NFL, is getting 3 points this week, guys. This is a layup. Seahawks, 100%.
Does this game matter?
This is another thing about this game. I know what losers like you are thinking.
Does this game matter?
Sam Darnold.
Every time?
The Rams killed him last year.
Every
Yeah,
time
that
this
was
guy
on
plays
a
a game,
different team.
it doesn't matter. Every time this guy has
Different
played a game
team.
that matters in pro football, every time he pisses down the field.
Everyone's buying into that idiotic narrative this week, and the line's moving towards the Rams. So, yeah, Seahawks, if people aren't on the Seahawks, could you imagine the best team in the NFL getting 3 points and people aren't on it? This is the side.
There's no
So it
chance
could-
that the Seahawks are the best team in the NFL. They're just not.
Why not?
Because Kansas City still has Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, quarterback has to matter. It just has to matter, Mo. In high leverage situations, the quarterback position has to matter. And every
You don't
time
like 9
this
yards
guy,
per play?
Every time this guy has been put in a high leverage situation, just go back and look at the box scores for week 18 and the wild card last week. And look at this guy play like a complete asshole. And tell me that he's going to be okay in a high leverage situation.
Tell me Matt Stafford is going to be okay when there's a pass rush with a pulse on the other side.
That's the biggest concern. We've seen the kryptonite for all pocket passers, right? Guys that have absolutely no ability to escape the pocket in the history of the NFL. Brady is like the chief amongst them. Those Brady Giant Super Bowls, the absolute kryptonite is getting pressure with 4. And the Seahawks are 5th in pressure rate and 30th in blitz rate. This is why I couldn't have any conviction in this contest, despite the fact that I think that Sam Darnold will play his worst game of the season, because that's what he does in high leverage situations. And on top of that, you've got McDonald's, who now has the opportunity to do a ton of exotic stuff on the back end, because this guy's never going to run. Like, Matt Stafford is never going to break pocket and run, so you don't even have to assign a spy or anything. You can just throw coverage at him when you're sending 4. So I completely understand that aspect. But you just have a quarterback who 100% of the time pumpkins in this spot, whether it be ghosts against the Patriots or the season on the line last year for the Vikings. He pumpkins
Last year,
every time.
The Vikings were suspect all year, though. The Seahawks
Suspect? They
are
won
beating people
14? How
by
many games?
40.
How many games did
They
they
weren't
win?
they weren't looking like the best team in the NFL. Everybody knew that. The Vikings were suspect. The Seahawks are beating everyone by 40. This is a completely different situation.
We'll see. We'll see. The only, I have no evidence to say that Sam Darnold will play well in a spot like this, but that's why they play the games, and that's why he'll have an opportunity this week. Texans
Seahawks 12-1 or whatever they are to win the Super Bowl is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Wow, this is incredible. You, on a neutral field, you think you would trust the Seattle Seahawks against the Kansas City Chiefs?
This is the best team in the NFC. Show me a better one. You can't do it.
They're playing a better one this week, I think.
No,
Yeah,
they're
I think
not.
so too. I think so too. Quarterback has to matter. All right, Texans at Titans. Double roar, roar. And we keep it with the impassioned Mo, who goes from what he believes to be the best team in the NFL to clearly the worst team in the NFL, taking Titans plus 6.5.
I did take the worst team in the NFL. I mean, the look-ahead line for this game was 3. I mean, I haven't been this far off on a line all year. I thought that was like pretty fair. So I'm flabbergasted that this moved 3.5 points. I mean,
Why would that be fair? What? I don't understand.
because it's David Mills, man, on the road.
David.
A horrific offense.
David Mills.
David
Always
Mills.
David Mills.
Always David Mills. David Mills on the road, a horrific offense, is laying 6 points, guys. Come on. There's no way this is a real line. Titans are off a bye. They already have seen this team before. They can at least plan better with their shitty players. Maybe they can make this game. I think they can. The total's like 38 in this game, man. I mean, they need like 14 points to cover this game.
Well, I was
They
going to
can't
say this
score
cap
14
is
points?
no. This cap is easy to me. Do the Titans score more than 10 points? If no, the Texans are going to cover. Like this Houston defense is very good. This Titans team is horrific. And I don't know, Davis Mills is fine. And the Texans have all of their weapons. Nico is fully back, doesn't even have an injury designation. And the young guys are coming online. Jaden Higgins looks like the guy that all these college prospects were drooling over during the draft process. Woody Marks is coming online and is the clear RB1 in Houston as well. So I think the Houston offense can these guys scored 26 points. Granted, one of them was a defensive touchdown in the fourth quarter against Jacksonville. What are they going to do against a Titans defense that has absolutely
So why
nothing
was this
left?
line 3 last week? Well, why don't you have
I'm seeing-
1,800 units on
No. I'm seeing
minus
7.5.
3 look ahead?
I'm seeing 7.5. I'm seeing the preseason line was 3.
Yeah, look ahead was 7.5.
Yeah.
Okay,
DP
that
Makes sense because they were
sense.
probably baking Stroud into that too.
correct. DP.
Yeah,
also
I think
on
so.
Houston. Put a pin.
I don't know how the Titans score. I mean, this, like you said, Rich, Davis Mills has been all right. I mean, he hasn't been great, but he's been fine. They have their weapons. Why can't they put up some points? And then that's going to require the Titans, who are god awful on an average day. Now they got to go up against one of the better defenses in the NFL. I mean, I don't know how the Titans move the ball and score points here.
Let's get Brett involved.
I think it's
Oh, go for it, Brett.
well, real quick.
Brett's
I think
getting
it's worth
himself involved.
adding. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's worth adding that Houston's defense has been far better at home than on the road. So I think that is one thing. And plus, Cam Ward off the bye. He's now, I mean, that's 2 weeks to spend with Mike McCoy, his new head coach, kind of build out the offense together. I think Cam Ward just continues to get better every week going forward. So I do kind of like this spot for the Titans.
My preamble stands. This is the toughest game on the slate for Brett. It is his beloved Green Bay Packers against Jameis week. And although he doesn't have a big opinion on this game, I got to get Brett involved because 2 heartthrobs for you, Minotti.
I don't know what the hell's going to happen in this game, man. I don't know what the Packers are, first of all. This offense is putrid, and I don't understand why. I mean, I haven't been a love guy really since day one, but how this offense can't score points. They drive the ball down the field and then they turn it over, and it's just like putting points on the scoreboard has been impossible for this offense. And with Jameis, that might be the way the Packers finally put points on the board, is just by picking Jameis off 5 times this week. So I mean, you guys tell me what is going to happen in this game, because I have
you haven't
no
even told
idea.
us what side you have.
I don't even remember which side I picked. I think this was at the bottom of my card.
Well, as the graphic
I think I took
shows,
Packers because
people-
I took Packers because the pass rush against Jameis. That is where I leaned.
the people on YouTube will see that you took the Packers. Mo has the highest opinion on this game, and it is also on the Cheeseheads in his top 5.
Yeah, I was tempted to make this my top pick. I'm a little bit worried this is going to be very popular, though. I initially kind of was like in the Giants, and then I started looking at these injuries. So many people hurt for the Giants on defense. So many people, even on offense, some people hurt. I mean, I'm concerned that a lot of what Jameis has looked good doing the last couple of years, which is kind of dropping back, flinging the ball down the field wildly. I don't know how that's going to work with these horrific weapons they have. So I just they don't have. I can't believe I'm about to say something positive about Jerry Jeudy, but they don't have anybody as good as Jerry Jeudy. So that 200-yard game last year or whatever it was, they don't have anybody like that. Like, what is he going to do? Just drop back and throw it to Darius Slayton? I mean, that's the only person with a pulse left on the Giants. So I just don't see it, man. And I just think the Packers, it's like Brett said, he's a little bit misleading. They're not bad. They're bad after they get to the 30, the opposing 30. But, I mean, this is a horrible Giants defense. So maybe they finish some drives this week. The Giants are lost. I don't think this is a team that is going to get any sort of bump from, changing the coach. And I just think the Packers should probably roll here. I had this north of 7. So, I think the Packers are actually a good side, but I'm a little bit worried everyone else is going to think so too. I feel like people have been liking some of these bigger favorites the last few weeks when kind of historically we thought they usually didn't.
7.5s are showing in real life, specifically at Pinnacle. When is Abdul Carter going to show up? Like, what's going on here with this generational all-world can't-miss edge prospect and being added to a defensive line of very good players, yet they're 26th in pressure rate, 25th in adjusted sack rate, 30th in adjusted line yards? Like, when are these guys going to start playing well? That said, I've just seen this Packers offense play like assholes too frequently to not take the full touchdown here, especially off a short week. Offensive lineman now injured. I don't know. I think this is just going to be an ugly game. But if the Giants get any dead cat bounce from that head coach change, it could mean a good thing for the G's. But I'm stepping on Donnie here because he loves the G's in his top 5.
I'm over the Packers, to be honest. I mean, Rich, you called them the exact term that we should call them. Bunch of assholes is what they are, because they go out there every single week and they play like half a game, if that. Like, they don't show up for half the game. The other half of the game, they look like an absolute disaster. You're just wondering what they're doing. What are these play calls? What the heck is Jordan Love seeing? Where is he throwing? Like what is going on with the Packers team? I feel like everyone wants to still include the Packers in the conversation for the Super Bowl. Maybe that's the thing. Shout out ODB, holding on to everyone's priors, before the season. And they're just like, at some point it's got to click. This team is too talented. I don't know. I don't see it. I think this team is pretty good, but they're not in that like upper tier to make the next step. They have too many issues. Most importantly, they can't score to the extent that you should be laying 7 on the road. I don't care if it's the Giants. And what I get out of New York is I'm pretty confident that Jameis is at least going to throw the freaking ball downfield, because that's what Jameis does. And that's what you got to do to put points. You got to move the ball and push the envelope and push the thing downfield. This Giants team is like, they just got rid of Dayball. They have like nothing to lose. Jameis is in there, the absolute best gunslinger with the greatest attitude in the history of mankind. I mean, you just absolutely love to see it. This line should probably be 4.5, quite honestly.
All right, let's get to an NFC South tilt. The Panthers travel to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Falcons are -3.5. Did not want to take the bye after their European trek to Germany. And everybody is once again off the Panthers, selling Bryce Young, selling Dave Canales, selling the whole outfit. And guys, this is a spot to buy. Total of 42.5, getting the hook in the division. This Falcons team is banged up. This Falcons team has a travel disadvantage, even though they're playing this contest at home. I think this is an extremely valuable half point that we're getting with Carolina, and I just think this is a classic spot to hold your nose, take a deep breath, and click Carolina. DP, you've got the highest opinion. On the other side, you've got Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just kind of dumped on people who are holding on to their priors, and here I am feeling like I'm holding on to my priors with the Falcons. Like, I don't know. I feel like this team still has it in them, that they can perform. And this Panthers team is trash. I can never get past the whole home road split thing with the Panthers, specifically with Bryce Young. I know this is a controlled environment indoors in Atlanta, but I don't know. I want to believe that this Falcons team is better than their record shows. I think they have the pieces on offense. I mean, Penix has looked certainly questionable plenty of times, but I think they can move the rock. I think their defense has enough to, get after Bryce Young and make him uncomfortable there. And I think for the past, 3-4 weeks, the Panthers have been playing a little bit above where they probably should be. Obviously they've had some good results in there, but I don't think they're as good as their record might show. So I'm on the Falcons, and I think they can put a big number here. Plus, I don't know if you guys remember. I don't even remember what freaking week it was because I tried to burn it from my memory. But I turned on the TV and the Falcons had a big fat 0 next to them in a Survivor contest against this stupid ass Carolina team. So let's go, okay?
This is, rule of
Circle
circle.
the damn schedule and make it happen, Atlanta.
If you're pro Falcons, this is definitely circled cap. I think that's the number one indicator here because no Leonard Floyd, multiple offensive linemen banged up, coming back from Germany. I think this is just a terrible spot for Atlanta. But yeah, it's definitely circled against a Panthers team that certainly does not inspire on the whole. Another divisional tilt, Ravens at Browns. I feel like this is a spot that Brett always loves. Browns as home dogs in a disgusting weather spot where we are looking at 44 degrees, 23 sustained mile-an-hour winds, plus those lake effect gusts. And thus, Brett has the Browns bubbling his top 5.
Yeah, I might tinker it, but it'll depend on if we get more weather news closer to Saturday. This might land in my top 5. But yeah, it's one of the strangest but most reliable splits in the NFL. The Browns defense at home, they are just a completely different animal. And this is the perfect setup. Wind, rain, a game script that just screams AFC North trench warfare. And when, the totals shrink and the passing efficiency drops, that's when the Browns pull it all together and pull off some crazy stuff, man. Like they're so good in these spots. And last week was a weird one too. Like Cleveland dominated that game against the Jets. They outgained them in yards per play. 11 more first downs.
Dominated us. That game was played to a draw. Dominated it.
They had 40 passing yards.
They scored 2 special teams touchdowns. Come on, man. Like that game was not won by Cleveland. They lost it as well. But I thought they outplayed the Jets in that game. And then on the other side, Baltimore here coming off really kind of the exact opposite. A win that looked cleaner than it should have. Minnesota outgained them. Minnesota won yards per play by a full yard, and the Ravens lived off turnovers and penalty yardage. So
yeah, 13 penalties, 7 false starts. Somebody text me, did you guys see they were supposedly mimicking the cadence? That's not allowed. So, I mean, maybe the Ravens cheated last week. I don't know. I didn't dig into this one, but if the Ravens are out there cheating, then yeah, we need to be fading them.
How much of an
I think it's the opposite.
Is Mike Vrabel? Okay. This idiot, since April, watched Travion Henderson train, run, preseason, excellent athlete. Probably I'm assuming he watched a lot of him at The Ohio State University. Just didn't use him for 2 months. Just said, we're going to let Ramondre pile into the line of scrimmage and put the ball on the ground. Cost us a cover against those Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, all of a sudden, wow, Travion's really good. Wow. Who would have known? We got a Ferrari in the garage. And we're just
there had to be something
around.
Going on behind the scenes there.
Had to be. It's just hardo coaches never playing rookies. Ryan Williams should be running ahead of these other jamokes that are playing receiver too. Like, just play your rookies. Head coaches, I know you're listening. I know you're listening to Gridiron Gamble. Just play your rookies. Let them get out there. Make mistakes. Make some plays. Speaking of rookies, when do the Browns go to Shedeur Sanders? Gabriel is 10 miles below the threshold. Let's see what we got with Shedeur.
This might be the last opportunity for Gabriel. This might be it.
It's Ravens revenge. The Ravens leaked that they wanted Shedeur, and evidently he didn't want to go there because he didn't want to be a backup behind Lamar. So a little revenge factor for Shedeur if he gets in there. Gabriel's awful. Like, this guy, I don't know if he can even be in pro football. He's that bad.
No, he can't be. You're being way too nice. I mean, it's so bad.
Like there's guys in this Jets Discord I'm in that are like, there's a chance that the Browns pass on quarterback in the draft. I'm like, there's no shot that if the Browns have like a top 3 pick, they're not taking quarterback because of Dylan Gabriel and whatever Shedeur Sanders is. All right, split games out of the way. Let's get to some Lone Wolves. Pressing the wrong buttons, cutting off the music early. Brett's got the highest opinion on a Lone Wolf this week. And I think this might be a harbinger because he never, ever, ever puts an X next to.
The Bills make me wanna.
And he is laying 5.5 with Buffalo at home against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think this is one of those matchups where the Bills, and look, the Bills have not looked good, but this is where their ceiling actually matters. And I don't think Tampa can reach that gear anymore without their offensive stars. Like when Buffalo is locked in, they're still a top 5 team in the league. And this feels like the spot where they can put together a dominant performance in an environment they feel confident and comfortable in. Unlike last week, where clearly, every time they go to Miami, the heat bothers them. And it's not just the Bills. It seems like every team this time of year. But meanwhile, the Buccaneers, that early season shine it looks like it's gone. Like we knew it was coming eventually, but Baker's mobility, which was really the engine of all that chaos ball success they had early on, it's just gone. And he's not scrambling anymore. That's probably due to the oblique injury. He just looks like a different quarterback today than he was 6 weeks ago. And when Baker's stuck in the pocket, like we get the real picture. Like bottom 5, bottom 10 in EPA, bottom 5 in success rate. The same turnover-worthy plays, throws that he was magically getting away with early in the year. I think we're seeing that catch up to him now. And now he walks into Buffalo without his weapons. We got 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, potentially rain. That's the worst environment for a timing-based deep throw, deep ball offense. And it's nothing for Josh Allen. With his arm, the wind advantage scales toward Buffalo because he's played in these conditions at a high level for years now. And this is the exact kind of matchup where Allen kind of leans into his legs, especially against a defense like this that blitzes at one of the highest rates in the league. You bring pressure, and Allen's going to contain and rip off explosive runs and use his improvisation to hopefully hit some open receivers downfield, which has been a problem. But I don't think the Bucs can keep pace here. I think this is where the Bills kind of get right and get this season back on track.
Mo, the highest opinion on the other side, backing his boy, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think the Bills won their Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and we're now seeing that this is not a top 5 team, in my opinion, with all these injuries and the struggles that Josh Allen has had this year. This is a team that wants to come out and pound the rock. Good luck with that against this Bucs front. And on the other side of the ball, you have a team that, doesn't want to blitz, wants to rush 4. That's where Baker Mayfield thrives. He wants to, sit there and find guys running into spaces where he can laser the ball in. The Bills don't want to play man. They don't want to do the things that have caused Baker to struggle this year. But yeah, I will say the elements are giving me serious pause here because my biggest concern was what Brett said is Josh Allen running the ball here could be a massive weapon in Buffalo's favor. So there's definitely that factor. But I do think the Bills are in a spot where they're the matchup maybe isn't the best for them here.
DP, pile on. You've got Tampa in your top 5 as well.
I got concerns about this Buffalo team. I don't know. I know Josh Allen is and certainly can be otherworldly, but this team as a whole, I really worry about them. And it's easy for the Bills to get up when they got to play against the Ravens, to start the season, or the Chiefs, as Mo mentioned, it being their Super Bowl, that sort of stuff. But I don't know. Every other week, I really have not been that impressed by them for a team that I would have thought would have been for sure in the top 3 the entire season. I mean, I have them power rank 7th. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. They don't have it to me. I feel like if I were to put my finger on something, I honestly think it's the coach. Like, I think they got to move on and get someone new in there. If for anything, just a freaking change of scenery. Like, I mean, it's like, I feel like McDermott's taken them as far as he can take them. And you just need like that next thing, whatever it is. I don't know. And I also worry about, Josh Allen going up against a team that's kind of blitz happy in the Bucs, and just that they can put him under a lot of pressure and, get him out of sorts and whatnot. And obviously, Josh can run around and do the things that he can with his legs, but if the weather's bad and he can't, have those off-script throws, and make them cleanly, I think that could cause some issues. So I think this one's just going to be ultimately a pretty hard-nosed, hard-fought battle and be very close. And I think the points are a little bit too high here.
It's funny you bring that up about the coaching. You see this in soccer a lot, where there's guys that are good at coaching low-table teams and then mid-table teams and then high-table teams. And then once they get to like where they need to be, then the organization knows that, all right, like Sean Deitch, you did a great job of making sure that we didn't get relegated, but now we have a mid-table side with some talent. Like, you're out of here, buddy. So I do think that the Bills do need that kind of kick in the pants. I've got real American dollars on the Bucs because there's this real strange injury status for both Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving. They both carry doubtful tags, which means by historical standards that they're very unlikely to play, but they are both at practice. So I don't know if this is just Bowles throwing their names out there and wasting the Bills' time, making sure they prepare for them, or if there's an actual realistic chance for them to play. So once I saw that, I threw some shekels on the Bucs plus 5.5, but I couldn't get there in the contest because it does feel like a spot for the Bills after getting embarrassed in Miami to kind of get their stuff together and stick it to a Bucs team that seems like it's been regressing for the past couple of weeks. This next lone wolf from Brett, Bengals at Steelers. He is laying it with Pittsburgh minus 5.5. And if I have a guess here, Brett, I think you're worried about how popular Joe Flacco and Cincy are going to be in the contest.
Not really. That actually wasn't part of my cap at all. I'm not sure what people are going to do with the Steelers in the contest anymore. I just don't like the matchup for the Bengals. Like, the defense can't get stops. They're still missing their only good defensive player on the roster in Hendrickson. I'm pretty sure he's just quit at this point, and I don't blame him. Like, this unit is bottom 3 in every single metric. And on offense, it's still a banged up old Joe Flacco behind an offensive line that has to contain this pass rush. Like, do I believe in Aaron Rodgers on the offense? No, but there's enough in the tank here, I think, for him to run away from this awful Bengals squad that keeps losing to bad teams. And that includes the Bears. Like, they're losing to all these teams, and I just don't believe in this team. As bad as we think the Steelers are, I think the Bengals are still a bottom 5, 6, 7 team in this league right now.
Mo and Donnie, let's see if you can say it with me at the same time. This cap is one saying, right? Repeated 3 times. Let's see if we can all say it together on 3, right? 3, 2, 1. Passing offense. Passing offense.
I was going to say better
Passing
coach, better
offense.
quarterback.
It is better coach, better quarterback, too.
I was going to
Brett,
say
what is that face
rule of AFC North.
Why aren't the Bengals going to drop another 400 yards here? Yeah, all he does is throw for 400. He's throwing to
Isn't
Jason
he better
Higgins.
than Rod? Dude, I swear.
Isn't he better than Burrow?
I got to say, I watched that game every snap, unfortunately, because I don't know what else I had to do. I just can't. I might be too biased from watching that last game. That performance by Rodgers was bottom 5 I've ever seen in my entire life, dude. Not only was he a horrific player, but he had negative heart, dude. This is Donnie's rule of heart rankings. He's at the bottom. Rodgers is at the stone bottom of the heart rankings, dude. That pass rusher came into his face and he just lofted it and just ducked and covered. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, but you see that
dude.
every time with the old quarterbacks. Rich always got on Brady with it. Peyton did it. Favre did it. Like, at some point, you don't want to get smashed anymore. I get it. I am fucking 41. I stub my toe and I want to go to the fucking hospital, okay? That's just how life is. You imagine having 280-pound men coming at you trying to kill you? No, I'm ducking too.
Well, I'm not going to lay 5.5 points with you either.
I just don't see how the Steelers get stops. That's my biggest challenge here. Like, all the Bengals do is go out and throw for infinite yards. So why wouldn't they just do it again?
Too, that's what I was going to say too, is just the Bengals are so one trick that if you like have a plan, you can stop this team, maybe occasionally. But the Steelers are just going to do the same stupid shit every snap and just not adjust to the fact that all Joe Flacco is going to do is back up and just wing the ball blindly toward Higgins and Chase. And a good coach would stop it, but the Steelers won't. And I'd never seen anybody play worse than Aaron Rodgers last week. So I can't lay 5.5 with that guy.
All right, we'll keep it with Mo, who is taking the home dog in an NFC West tilt. He's got the Cardinals +3 against the suddenly healthy San Francisco 49ers in the middle of his card. Middle of his picks, not card.
I mean, not on defense, right? But I don't know what to do with this one. There was multiple injuries on the Cardinals that turned me off them a bit, but still, they're still getting 3 at home against a 49ers team that I don't really believe in, but I don't know what to do with the Cardinals either at this point with the amount of guys they had injured. I want to believe in them a little bit just because, like, once they got healthier a couple of weeks ago, their defense had a nice performance. But at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. This should maybe be close to a pick. Then I looked at these injuries and it's just a spot where I think it's pretty close to fair.
So I kind of love the Niners in this spot. I've been listening to Shanahan talk these past couple of weeks, specifically about the Ricky Pearsall injury. And it seems as if the way they treat injuries, they are it seems like, ahead of the curve when it comes to, there are specific markers that you need to hit through athletic testing for you to even be greenlit to play football for them. They're not just like, oh, how do you feel? Are you like 70%? All right, go out there and play some football. There's actually defined physical markers that you need to hit in terms of speed and agility that they're tracking that you need to hit in order to be greenlit to go and play. So I think the impact that we can see right away from Purdy and Pearsall is going to be much bigger than the impact that we see from other players who return from injury. And I don't think that's being baked into this line because as well as Mac Jones has operated this offense, he's still a dope and he just can't make plays to the level that Purdy can. And the Niners receiving core has been kind of the Walking Dead without Pearsall. Like I had maybe Jennings, that they have different rules for him because that guy's been going out with like multiple broken ribs every week and just kind of fighting through it. But I think both these guys are massive upgrades to this offense. And you look at the Cardinals side of the ball, Will Johnson, Jonah Williams, Mac Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., playing with a backup quarterback, weird stuff with the quarterback. I don't know. Again, they won their Super Bowl against Dallas. And then how much do these games actually matter to them? Niners fighting and clawing for a playoff spot. So I don't know. I think Shanahan just comes back in a fake travel spot, short flight to a dome, and just kind of shreds this Cardinals team. Mo, you've got one more lone wolf. This time it is a road favorite in the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. I don't expect much of a defense here because this is your very, very, very last selection.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to love the Chargers here actually at first, and then I started thinking about this corpse offensive line against some pretty kind of ferocious pass rushers, so I don't know if I can get there to actually bet the Chargers, even though I did think they were quite undervalued last week. That being said, guys, I've been saying it for weeks. Well, here's what I said a couple weeks ago. The Jags should be investigated for that Raiders game, right? But now I keep looking at this Jags team week after. Maybe they're just abysmal, okay? So, I mean, they look horrifying. Like week after week, this is an atrocious football team, guys. The fact that the Chiefs blew that game against this team is so embarrassing, because if they just won that game, they would be free and clear, not even having to fight for a playoff spot. This Jags team is atrocious, man. I mean, just look at their results week after week. They keep like losing / playing close games against awful teams, man. Awful teams. So there's no way I could actually get behind. I would love to hear somebody actually be confident in the Jags.
Well, you're looking at two of them, because both Brett and Donnie have Jacksonville in their top 5, but nobody has a higher opinion than Minotti on Duval.
Yeah, I think this number is just inflated. And I've said this about the Chargers before this season, too. I just think the market's just giving the Chargers credit that they no longer deserve because of the issues on the offensive line. They got the win last week. Great, but still offensively, it looked like smoke and mirrors. Herbert had no time to throw. They couldn't move the ball against one of the worst secondaries in the league. He was relying on those quick, panicked timing throws, and that gets way harder when you're on the road. And that's the matchup that Jacksonville wants. Like, you can beat this Jags team over the top if you have time to throw, but if Herbert is forced into nothing but like short game stuff, it removes one path where LA has a real edge. And then Jacksonville, yeah, they've been bad, but they get some reinforcements this week again. Brian Thomas, Brenton Strange should be back. Jacoby Myers has another week in the system. ATN finally gets kind of a soft landing spot here against one of the worst run defenses in the league. I mean, the Chargers run defense bottom 5 across every metric, especially on explosive runs, and that's where ATN is great. So I like the Jags to bounce back here after that embarrassing loss last week, and I like them on the money line this week.
DP pile on with Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, that final thing that Brett touched on, the run game for Jacksonville, you know, I think a lot of teams can move the ball against the Chargers D running the ball, and I think this sets up well this week for Jacksonville to do it. And ultimately, you know, that kind of slows everything down, which I think the Chargers already want to do on their side of the ball. So if both teams are in a way kind of trying to slow the game down, I just think this score is going to ultimately be a bit closer. Offensive line problems, as Brett mentioned, for Los Angeles are certainly notable. I mean, I think even before last week, I think all of us would agree that the Steelers weren't that good, and we were kind of always on them for that, you know, just not being that great of a team. And then it was obviously showcased last week when they got their doors blown off by the Chargers. But I mean, if we don't think the Steelers are that good, then why should we put a ton of weight into what the Chargers did last week? So part of this is also, you know, selling a little bit of that Chargers action, giving it back. I mean, the Jaguars have been frisky in some games. Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot a whole heck of a bunch. I get it, but I don't know. I think these teams are closer than this line seems to suggest. So yeah, give me the 3 points at home.
That last bit is the exact reason why I ended up putting an X next to the Jaguars, because the Steelers played awful. They couldn't do anything on offense. They couldn't get anything going. And yet it took the Chargers 3/4 of that game to establish themselves as the victor and then extend a little bit in the fourth quarter, because it's not like they played football very good either. Last lone wolf, I've got none. DP's got one, and it's another divisional tilt, this time between the Bears and the Vikes, and Donnie is taking Chicago plus 2.5 in the Dome.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole bunch to say here. I ultimately just clicked the points. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't really been impressed with JJ McCarthy. I don't know. I feel like he runs around a lot, kind of like a young quarterback should. And yeah, there's a couple good plays here and there, but on the whole, I don't know. I look at him as somebody who is extremely indecisive every time he drops back. And I don't know. I have issues in that. And I don't want to lay points with that type of quarterback. You know, I think the Vikings as a whole are a pretty good team. But if they don't have that captain, you know, at the helm of it all, that's able to kind of put them over the hump, then I don't really want to ever lay points with them, even if it is south of a field goal. So I'm just going to be on the Bears here and hope this is a really close game at the end of the day.
Brett's been active here in the Lone Wolf segment, and it continues here as he's got something J.J. McCarthy as a favorite in his top 5.
Well, this is more of a sell job on the Bears before the bottom completely falls out on this team. Chicago is a ticking time bomb. They are the worst defense in the NFL by yards per play. They're the luckiest defense in the NFL by turnovers. They're the most fortunate offense in the NFL in terms of like turnover impact and where they're getting the ball. You can literally not build a more unsustainable profile than what you have with Chicago here. And look who they've beaten too, like the Raiders, Commanders, Saints. We talk about this every week. They haven't beaten anybody. They beat the Giants. They beat the Bengals with Flacco. It's just a bingo card of bad teams and backup quarterbacks. And in almost every single one of those games, the Bears needed a blocked kick or a fluky fumble or a turnover or a fourth quarter meltdown just to survive. They played the second easiest defensive schedule in the NFL, and they're still bottom 10 in offensive success rate. And now they go on the road where Caleb has been bad this year, and now he goes against Brian Flores' pressure scheme, which absolutely cooked him last year. So I think Minnesota, I mean, they just ran a gauntlet of top-tier teams, really. They played the Eagles, Lions, Ravens. Now they get a step down in class. McCarthy hasn't been great, no, but this Bears defense is a perfect get-right matchup. They're 25th in success rate allowed. Just a screaming regression spot. And my only worry here is that the Vikings will be popular because at 2.5, people are just going to click because it's short of 3. But I can't get past the obvious sell spot on a team that is essentially just NFC Pittsburgh. They win games they shouldn't every week. So I have to sell that profile.
Yeah, just to put some more numbers to what Brett is saying. Bears 31st schedule per DVOA thus far. That's second easiest. Negative 0.4 net yards per play, 25th in total DVOA. You just need, and you know what? JJ called out Jordan Addison on his 15 transactions this week, so I was cutting some film. And there was a throw last week that JJ layered on a medium crosser where he layered over the linebacker, which was a pretty nice throw. So I don't know. If we can get Flores here continuing to cook up the pressure, number 2 in pressure rate this season against Caleb Williams, my biggest fear is Caleb's starting to break pocket more, obviously on that big play last week. And it's just one of those things. The more mobile these guys are, the more efficient these offenses can be. And when you're sending a ton of blitzes, you give the quarterback an opportunity to escape the pocket and make some big plays. So that's something to keep its eye on. But yeah, minus 2.5 in the contest, minus 3 showing in real life. It'll be interesting to see how the contestants handle that. Donnie's on the Bears. Mo's got the Chargers and Cardinals. Brett's got the Steelers and Bills. All right, guys. Got to keep the quarter going. 5-0 so far. Let's make the Week 11 card.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
If you were to tell me my super negative Jets same game parlay, which had Jets under 7.5 in the first half, had a chance after the Jets walked down on the first drive and scored a touchdown, I wouldn't have believed you. But here we are. We start with DP, who was 4-1 last week and has a better record on the season than Mo, and he will start us off with a split game.
It's my second pick, right?
It is your second pick. Your top pick was sniped by the collective.
Yeah, we're fucking Jameis. Let's go. Eat a W, baby.
Jameis.
Let's go. It's Jameis week. Come on. We've been waiting all season for this.
For those of you not watching
I mean-
on YouTube, Mo and Brett are absolutely disgusted with this selection.
I'm seriously considering vetoing this pick.
There's probably
It's
going to
a
be
very-
a lot
oh.
of tinkering on my behalf. Just so don't go too crazy.
It's
To
very
pull the
on
curtain
brand.
back on Saturday, Donnie was begging me to not put Dolphins plus 9.5 on the card. A team that ended up winning outright. So I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta. Again, there will be tinkering. Brett tinkered, took off a loser for a winner on Saturday, so there will be tinkering. And we just gotta trust the collective. We're rolling right now. Trust each member to carry their own weight. Mo, you're up next. You're picking. I absolutely despise this selection, so let's keep it rolling.
I got the best team in the NFL getting 3 points. I mean, on a fake road game.
How many total selections are going to be on this fucking game?
Well, there's going to be 1,800 on the Seahawks, so that's for sure. All
Even
right.
if the line goes to 3.5 Rams?
Is it really going to get to 3.5? Is there enough pressure right
It
now?
was minus 117 on the 3 last I looked.
Very, very interesting. Well, I'm going to take a game that Brett's going to hate because he had the other side in his top 5, and he hates international games.
Miami and the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
How can you get there with?
I think Brett has absolutely hated every selection. Dude, Washington are putrid at football. The Dolphins' offense is going on a month straight of looking like the Dolphins. I think they're just going to look like the Dolphins again. And I
You
don't know
guys
how the
both made
Commanders keep
great
up.
cases in this game, so I have no idea what's going to
This
happen
is
here.
when you have to sell Miami.
This is just-
the week, man.
You're not capping for football, though. You're just capping for
But
circumstances.
it's football in Europe, dude. How do you know what's going to happen in this game? How are these guys going to travel? Oh man, I don't know.
I'm done with Europe games. I'm with you, Brett. Over it.
There will be tinkering. If I were to put on my second selection, currently it's the Niners. So, whatever your thoughts are on that. Brett, you're up next. And we've gone full circle because you're going to take a game that Donnie hates.
I've got his guy, JJ McCarthy, on the card.
Everybody hates somebody's pick. I love this. All right. We go to the collective machine, who I didn't do the sounder, so I'm going to cut it off in the middle and then improvise.
The collective chooses
The Cincinnati Bengals plus 5.5 in Pittsburgh, which means there are 3 consensus games that none of us put on the card and that did not make the card. I think this is the first time all season that the collective pick is not a consensus pick. That is a rare occurrence. And the team that bubbled that is the Kansas City Chiefs, who are minus 3.5 traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. As I look across, who is the reason why? It is a combination of Donnie and Mo as to why this game did not make it as the collective pick. Mostly Mo, because Mo had 0 confidence points on the Chiefs. Tell us why you're worried about KC in this spot.
I mean, I'm not really worried. I like the Chiefs. But that being said, so does the market. I mean, I think the market is buying into everything that's obvious about this game, which is this is an injured Denver team with a poor quarterback and a running back that's hurt and has been very good for them. And now they're going to be handing off to a rookie who we have no idea if he's good or not. And all of that's baked in, dude. The Chiefs are 4-point favorites in a very, very tough road game here. So I think that there's no value on the Chiefs, though. I just think I think the spot is obvious, too. It's just like the Chiefs can't lose this game if they want any chance of winning the division. If they lose this game, it's basically over. I mean, as far as that goes. So I think everybody knows that, and that's why the Chiefs are, I think there's maybe a sliver of value at 3.5, but I just don't really think it should be much past 4. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to take the Chiefs in the contest too, man. This just seems like a spot everybody's going to love.
As the folks can tell on YouTube by the thumbs up, Brett is the highest on Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, Denver looks great in the win column, but they're going to get exposed this week. And I love Denver coming into the year, but every week I get lower on this team, and the record looks more misleading. And it all starts with the quarterback. Bo Nix is a problem. Their entire pass game looks like it is on training wheels. It's just quick, safe throws, nothing explosive. When they fall behind, they have no counterpunch. I don't trust this dude in a negative game environment, and that's probably what he's facing here, even at home. They're 8-2 because they're basically living off of magic tricks. They're plus 60 in the fourth quarter this year. That's more than 5 touchdowns better than
this
the
sounds
next
an
team.
awful like the things you said about the Bears.
Yes, they're the same. They're the exact same. And now, yeah, the cracks just get bigger with this team. Linebacker losses, J.K. Dobbins. Surtain is likely out again, which is a disaster against Mahomes and Rashee Rice. This Denver defense, they look elite on paper, but it's really fed on almost exclusively bottom-tier offenses. And this is not that this week. And now you get Kansas City coming back off the bye, off the loss to Buffalo, the exact moment when Mahomes and Reed historically come out with their sharpest game plans. They can't afford to leave anything on the table here. They have to win this game. So I think this should be closer to 6. I think Denver is going to get smoked this week.
The next consensus pick that did not make the card garnered no confidence points from myself, Brett, or DP, but a meager 7 from Mo, and it is the Raiders plus 3.5, playing host to the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. So rather than us all give the bearish case, Mo, give us the bull case on Vegas on Monday Night Football.
I mean, I think the bull case is just this offense can move the ball sometimes with Brock Bowers, and like they look somewhat reasonable on offense with Brock Bowers, and if you are somewhat reasonable, you can score points on Dallas. So I just couldn't get to 3.5 here. I thought 3 I think is okay. I just 3.5 is too much for me here. But that being said, could I ever actually put money on a Pete Carroll coach team in 2025 against the stuff that Schottenheimer is doing, which I think is, as I've said all year, very good? I can't do it, man. I can't bet it, even though I think this is a dumb line. I thought last week was a dumb line too, and I just but at least I knew with 9, I had leeway. Okay, if I'm wrong, maybe, maybe they lose by 4 or so, and it just there's not as much leeway on 3.5. I can't actually bet this game because I hate the Raiders, but I do think it's too high.
Total of 52, so the points don't actually matter. The team that covers this team is likely going to win, the dog included. Every part of my football brain was saying Schottenheimer and Dak are going to absolutely wax this idiotic Raiders team. And then every part of my handicapping brain was saying, you can never lay 3.5 points with a defense as bad as Dallas's on a fast track against Geno Smith, who will throw the ball downfield and will feed an elite player in Brock Bowers. So ultimately, this was the very last game on my 14 and garnered absolutely no confidence points. Finally, Lions at Eagles. I want to start with Donnie because, Donnie, this must have been, we were talking about Packers versus Jameis, a very tough decision for Brett. Donnie, how did you possibly choose between your two favorite teams in the National Football League?
What are you talking about? You never, ever pick against Dan Campbell. Ever. You always, he is the best. I mean, come on.
The other shocking bit to this is that the highest opinion comes from Minotti, who's got the most confidence points on. We're all on Detroit, by the way. We all have Detroit plus 2.5 in Philly.
Yeah, Philly's not very good. I think these are just two different tiers of football teams. I think Detroit is significantly better than Philadelphia, so I don't really understand this line. I'm happy to click Dan Candle here.
The more I sat with this game, like the only reason why the Eagles are favored and the only reason why they're being capped as the same team as Detroit is the logo on their jersey. Like, I'm very impressed by what Dan Campbell is doing this year after Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn both walked out the door. And when he takes the reins last week, everything we know about dipping, hard-nosed Dan Campbell, it's the first time all season the Lions were above 0 in pass rate over expectation. He went out there and he had Jared Goff throw the pill. So, what if Dan Campbell is just him and like the Lions have such a talent advantage over Philadelphia on both sides of the ball? This is like lining up. I think, man, I'm starting to fall in love with this Lions side this week and think this should be way closer to 0 and could be teetering on wrong team favor. All right. Bengals, Giants, Seahawks, Dolphins, Vikings. I don't think anybody's happy with that. a very collective.
Can I live tinker? Can I live tinker right now?
Well, let me just say these awful quarterbacks real quick because we've got Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Tua Tagovailoa, JJ McCarthy, and Sam Darnold. An absolutely horrific quintet.
9 yards per play, Sam Darnold.
Bro,
to you.
Joe Flacco is fucking balling. What are you talking about?
All right, live tinker. What are we feeling?
I want to put the Chiefs on.
Dun, dun,
right in ODB's eye.
Poor. I was gonna say poor ODB. ODB's made it an hour and 5 minutes in. He's probably disgusted at the fact that we had such an awful group of quarterbacks. And then just as an exclamation point, you go ahead and fade Bo Nix.
Buddy, the DMs we're going to get when he hears Brett say that the Broncos are the Bears are going to be incredible. Okay?
I'm calling. What's
Are they
the
not,
line?
though?
There's so many Broncos fans victory lapping on Twitter. It's embarrassing, dude.
What's the
I'm
line?
going to be
11,
in the house for this one.
11:47. Wow, let's go. 11:47
sweat.
p.m. Pacific time here on Thursday. That is the line for which ODB comes into our Twitter DMs and says that we're idiots. All right, y'all. Follow these guys on Twitter at Brett Colson, COLLSON, at Donnie_Peters, and at Mo Nuwara, NUWWARAH. I'm at Rich T. Ryan. Jets only down a touchdown at half. Missed field goal. If you have the Patriots in Survivor, I'm sorry I'm rooting against you. JETS. See you guys next week. Peace.